Hola, hola. So at this point, there are zero spectators in this webinar. The point of this webinar is to do a presentation about like empowering others, and I will be the one. My name is Zeviera. I am the MCVP Marketing and Content. And what we're going to be gonna focusing on in this webinar is really on how to empower others to achieve and why empowering others is necessary. So I will give it a couple of minutes until we start and hang tight. Hello, hello for you guys that are joining. I will be starting in a couple of minutes to see if more people will be joining. Just give us 2 minutes and we'll get started. Hello, so I'm about to start this, and I'll just share my screen, and we'll get done with this. So just a second. Perfect. Now we're ready. All right, se empoderó. Cool. So welcome to this tiny webinar. It's going to be like a 15 to 20 minute story of empowering others. And Hector asked me to deliver this webinar, and I was very flattered. And I honestly did not really know why he was asking for this. But after we talked a little bit, I got to why he was asking. And so I've had a couple of experiences in ISEC. Well, it's been 4 years of like 6 entities and a lot of like 2 exchanges and 2 MCs abroad, this kind of stuff. And I got to learn a few things with this organization. And this part of empowering others has been like one of the ones that has made me feel that is like the most complete. So before I actually really go into this whole presentation, so just who I am, my name is Zé Vieira. I am the MCVP Marketing and Content. Yeah, well, you thought I was B2B. Well, that's a long story. There's been a lot of shifts throughout the year and a lot of different like focuses. And honestly, what I've been focusing on the most has been like marketing for organization and focusing on exposing our brand through content. And before we really get started, I'm gonna check the this live thing to see whether or not we're having whether or not we're having any comments, we're having any troubles, to see if everything is going fine. So here we are, just to see if everything is fine. And just gonna be a weird loop. Okay, se cortó. Okay, guys, can somebody please comment and say if everything is fine at this point? Waiting for a comment of Francadena. Francadena. Okay, start having comments. Yep, everything is fine. Gracias, Fer Pereira. Let's go, guys. Okay, so cool, se escucha bien, qué bueno. Bueno, entonces, regresando a Se Empoderó. So, the whole point of this is that we really want to pass some of like key learnings that are connected with leadership development to you guys, because you guys are one of the most important like assets of this organization, being the LCPs of the people that have the power to inspire, have the power to lead, and have the power to make the change of your LCs. And as BOP, you can change everything. So for me, it's a really like an honor, a pleasure to be here and giving this small webinar. And as I told you, there's some things within my experience that make me really connected with empowering others. So let's go. I introduced myself already. So here's the context. Se quedó sin NSTs. MTs. No mames. Bueno, esto también pasa. So what's the context? This was the national team that I had. So we had some shifts. I took the whole content creation, local content, and companies attraction. And this was my team. As you can see, it's chingos de personas. So this was one of the biggest challenges I've had so far, because like just really like dealing with different types of problems and a whole team to solve those problems and having a constant like leadership of these kind of people. What happens for me for para se quedar sin NSTs was that actually these people from my team were elected for MCs, and that's where the whole empowering others comes. That like I really experienced a big development and a big growth within my team in specific people that ended up applying for MCs and getting MCs. And well, some of them are not the most happy stories. So in the end, like these 6 people I know here, we only see 5, but there were 6 because Melina was an NST of mine for the whole first semester. We kept in touch and everything. She became MCP with Urdi, MCB with Urdi, and then she ended up being MC. But so this is the people that, like 6 people that were working with me, and ended up getting an MC experience. And I couldn't be prouder of these people, because all of them started with a lot of dreams, a lot of ideas, but a lot of not knowing what to do or how to do, or not knowing what they were able to do. And I really consider that this was one of my biggest achievements, to be able to give them a path. So here we have like Vero, that only joined my team in the second semester. We have Melina, that was with me from the beginning. Rodrigo was with me from the beginning. Omar was with me from the beginning. Nelly was with me from the beginning. And Luis was with me almost from the beginning. And the unfortunate story of Luis is that he got elected to to Puerto Rico. I'm sorry, but with a lot of personal aspects, he had to renounce the position a few months before starting, and he's no longer going. That's very unfortunate. But so, what is the whole story behind this thing? Well, first of all, I would like to talk a little bit of like why empowering others is so important. And in my perspective, like this is the whole key of the organization: empowering others. Like we here have the chance of changing something into people, so that these people will become something bigger than they would expect to have become. And we have the role and the responsibility of doing this. So if we're not doing it, why we're here? So for me, a very simple example of the power of this organization is when we look at roll calls. Let's think of like AI. Like there is this random bunch of 20-something people that get elected into AI. Some of them are very happy and very like keen to like dance roll calls and everything, and they are the ones that are going to stay late night in the pre-meetings of IC, like doing the whole testing. Okay, let's do this song, let's do these moves, this kind of stuff. And then like one of them, this like German random dude, or this like guy from Kenya, this guy from like Japan, this guy from Mexico. Okay, let's do this move. Okay, let's do this kind of thing. And they decide that, and they present this in IC. And there's all the MCPs and a lot of LCPs, and they see the roll call and they're like, okay, this is the representation of AI. Let's dance. This is so cool. Like, let's feel part of this. And they bring this to their entities. And then you have a national conference where the MC is dancing the AI roll call. At the same time, this thing is on YouTube and the whole membership is seeing. So after a while, within the space of 3 to 4 months, we have a whole network of 126 countries of people that are doing the same movement that nerdy guy that got to AI decided to do in his own, like in their like late at night before IC started. Why is this? Because there is power here. There is like this power of when people look up to others and say, I want to be like them. I want to do the great things that they do. And if they're doing this, I'm going to do it like that, because I really respect them and I really look up to them. And this is the power that you guys have as LCPs. This is the power that you guys have as leaders in Mexico, which is a decision that you make, a word that you say, this is going to influence a member that is looking at you. It's going to influence your VP. And so empowering others is a crucial thing to make sure that we're doing the right thing in order to make them grow and, of course, achieve our results. So why empowering others? In my perspective, you get to explore other people's potential, of achieving more, and of course, you develop leaders. So this is the reason why I really trust that empowering others is one of the best things that we should be doing within this organization. And what are actually my 4 keys to empowering others? Things that I've noticed that I continuously do that actually have been helping me to develop these people, and I can identify them in these 6 people that got to be elected to MC, but not only in not only in them, but in other NSCs that I have now that are taking MCB roles, or people that actually are getting a job after this and are starting their own startup or something like that. I already have NSCs that are getting together to start their own business. They learn in this experience, and that is the kind of thing that really makes me really proud. So let's go with the 4 keys. Number 1, searching for purpose. Yeah, so this is like very crucial. So a little story. When I was selecting my team, just to give a little bit of context, I was trying to get the people not only like for their past experience, but why did they want to be part of this this experience? Because it was a new role, it was B2B, we were going to do marketing for companies. Whoa, what the fuck? Nobody was doing this before. So we started with this. I only wanted to get the people that would really, 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 really want to do something connected with marketing for companies and want to do something new. So there is this guy, Rodrigo Aquino, VP Marketing of Puebla, ex VP IGT for a while, and he was the perfect candidate. And for me, like, but he needed to have a purpose. And his purpose was really like always to learn something new and to become good at something that was his passion, but never something that he dedicated his life into, which was like he was studying business administration, but he really wanted to be good at marketing. So I gave him a shot. Like he was learning new things, and I knew that this guy was not going to be the specialist, but he had a purpose, which was he wants to complement his studies. He wants to complement what he knows about with something that he doesn't know about. And I gave him the chance of being MCB for like B2B attraction, IGT. And in the end, he ended up being too many things. He ended up being a content manager, and pretty much the things that Rodrigo has been doing working with me has been like, okay, we have this objective. I don't know how to get there. Find a solution. Let's work this out together. And that's pretty much what he has been working with me for a whole year. And so it all started with a clear purpose, without like a clear objective, but there was a clear purpose. And so for me, like what to do with purpose is really like find a connection between the role and the characteristics of the role, I'm sorry, and the passions of the objectives of the person. If these things are there, then we're on the right track. And then really knowing more about the person's context and understand like what can you get to know about this person, because you always can learn so many things about people. And it's not about the hierarchy, it's not about the position that people hold, but it's about like what these people are interested about and how cool is that. And maybe you can also get interested about that kind of thing. So understanding what are their objectives and their passions and how it connects with the role, and knowing, like start understanding it better, you create a connection with the person. And so if you connect with the person's purpose, it's going to be so much easier to work together and achieve things, because when you're dreaming about it, it's like you're sharing a dream. And so my third point of what to do with purpose would be adjust the JD if necessary, because you will have goals of getting to the goal. And if one way of getting to the goal is going to be to fulfilling this person's passion and objectives, which are not exactly yours, maybe this is not your approach, but if this person can get the job done and they want to also fulfill their passions and objectives through this job, then you're just like in the right moment to adjust the JD if it's necessary. And that's what has been happening with so many of my NSTs. So this was key number one, searching for purpose and acting towards that purpose. Key number two, skill building. So once again, let's go for a little story. So with Melina, Melina was VP OGT of Puebla, and Melina was really getting to, like, she studied communication, and she knew basic, like she knew basic skills, basic editing, but she had never really proper communication piece that would have an impact and would change people's lives. But what we started doing was like, I saw that she had the skill and she had the ideas behind it, but she didn't have experience and she didn't know how to build a conceptual, like a story in a video in a very conceptual way. So we went step by step. Okay, you know how to handle an editing program. So this is the kind of video that I'm looking for. So this is a story, this is a script, this kind of thing. Show me what you can do. A very, very, very ugly video. And I was like, are you proud of this? And she's like, well, that was what I can do with the time that I have. And that was the point. Like, okay, you need to be proud of what you're doing. And if you're not proud of what you're doing, then you might as well not even do it. You need to be able to do the best you can with the skills you have. So every task that we had, like, was about like trying to add something new and master the previous skills. So this first video that she had to deliver, it literally, like, it's something that would take me, with my experience, like 2 days to edit within like breaks and so on. And it took her 3.5 weeks with like 5 revisions, like going back and forward. But then the second video only took her about a week. And the third video only took her like 3 days. And from then on, she would be taking 2 days each video, and she would get the perfect story that would really impact you. And the biggest changes of, okay, I have basic knowledge of a skill, but I can go deep and deep. And everything that I do out, and I'm going to be able to share it and say, this is what I did. And maybe if I'm going to look at this 5 years afterwards, look back, I'm still going to be proud because that was the best thing I could do at that time. So what to do with skills? Like, I really think the best thing to do in the beginning is to understand which skills exist and which need to be learned. And understand if the ones that need to be learned, you cannot learn them during the experience. Because if you can learn them during the experience, then focus on learning those skills during the experience, and then you're going to be empowering somebody into doing something that they were never able to do before. And then we go to the focus on developing the needed skills with small victories, setting goals. For example, let's talk about this specific case of Melina in the video. Like in the beginning, she was not really being able to communicate the whole thing. She would be able to cut and edit this kind of stuff, but not communicate the whole story. So we focus on the first skill of just like, and then after that we start focusing on, okay, but maybe like we could take out one or two scenes and like do this a little bit technically better. Then we start going into like more of a color, more of a mood, and we start going into soundtrack, and step by step all those things that we learn accumulate, so that talking about the strategic video, we can talk about like what are the goals behind this video and what are like all those other dimensions, and we no longer talk about subtitles, we no longer talk about cutting, we no longer talk about effects, because all those things have been learned. And so after like 3 months of actively producing video, she became so good at it that like she could definitely sell this kind of skill. And then every piece of work is your best work, and this is what I was saying before. Like, if what you produce does not make you proud, and you would not put that on a CV and say this was the best I could do back then and look at what I do now, then don't do it. If what you're going to be doing with your VPs, that if the goals that you're going to set are not going to be making you proud, like I did not grow enough, or I did not deliver such a good experience to this company with my team, or I did not deliver such great experiences to these EPs, if these things are not going to be make you proud of your first quarter, of your first semester of your term, then you might as well not do them and think of something else that you want to do to achieve your goals. So always like try to understand what are the skills of your VPs, what are the things that each of them can aportar, because each of them is very different, and each of them have a different set of skills that all in all together, the whole EB can like the results you need. So you just need to understand which skills they have, which skills can you develop in them, or can you, if you don't have those skills, can you find somebody to coach them that will give them those skills, and build them step by step, and always be proud that what you did on January was the best you could do, everybody could do with the skills they have and with the effort they put into it. What you did in February was the best that they could do with the skills they had, with the time they put into that, and with the accumulated of they did it in January and then in February, and goes on. And after 12 months of your whole EB experience, you're going to be in such a whole other level that you're going to be thinking, fuck, like it's not only that I learned by failing and all that things that we're always saying, but I failed in the first 2 months. I understood what to do. I did better on the second two. Then 8 months passed, and shit, I did a shitty first semester, and I know what is wrong, and I know what were the mistakes and what are the skills that I need to develop to actually do this. And so this is all about that. Like, be proud of what you're doing. And we go for point number 4, which is achieving together. So once again, a new story. So with Vero was my MCB visuals, and she was responsible of, she's still of being responsible of the designing and the visual part of the whole Isaac brand. And something we realized in like after a couple of months working was that, fuck, like our content is not aligned visually. If you see a blog, or if you see a video, or if you see an image, you will not know that these things are connected. You will not know, you'll not see, this is Isaac. And so we're like, we need to change this. And if we change this, we're gonna get much better, like much better followers, and like much better like continuity between content to content. It's something very hard to track, obviously, but it was very hard. How can we align blog, video, and visuals together with the same type of visual? So we started working together in defining what would be the colors, what would be the little animations, the little things that we could do in blog. And after like 3 weeks of actively working for that, we built a branding for every piece of content we do, and we built templates. And by building these templates, we were able to generate content in an automatic way that is aligned. And we no longer need to have a person that goes there and it goes there, and okay, so the blog, you need to put this visual, and let me edit, let me design, and which would take a lot of time. So we sat together, we defined what were the objectives, and we worked together upon that. We decided the colors, we decided how we're gonna do the templates for each of kind of things, because it's actually complicated to find templates that can work for so many different types of formats. And so in the end, we defined this, and what happened was that after that we get templates, and then it was time for her to do it by herself, to achieve by herself. So you're responsible, Vero, of branding the whole ISEC in Mexico in a clear, consistent way, that everything that is produced is aligned. So by achieving together in the beginning of aligning things and seeing how the next couple of weeks start being aligned, I no longer needed to focus myself on this visual alignment, because I knew that she could do it by herself, and I knew that I did not need to track her anymore. And she actually started to discover even more things. What if we animate this little thing? And so she worked together with one of the video that are animators, and we start animating things. And so by achieving this first thing, and like seeing that we can do it, and seeing the results of the consistency of growing of engagements, publication by publication, we see that okay, we are able to find a process, make it work, and then we escalate it. And now we are being able to do this like homogeneous visual style of all our content in a much of a more consistent way. And I never ever had to ask and track that thing, because I just see it and it's good. I never had to do it because it just became part of the process. And so the whole point here is like how to achieve is like understanding what are the current capabilities. She knew how to design, she knew how to produce templates and this kind of stuff, but she had never really tried to do this for a whole, like we're talking about 6 channels, we're talking about 30 to 40 pieces of content every week. It's a big load of work, right? So it's her and one NST. Like, how is this going to happen? So we need to challenge the person's perception and giving them hard tasks. And I say, you need to make this in a way that this is going to be there for every piece of content we do, and we do 45 pieces of content per week for 6 channels. If you're going to be a slave of the content, then you're going to like really like die, and you're not going to be able to get it done. So we gave her a hard task, and she succeeded, and we did the first things together, and she's been succeeding over and over again because she found a smart way to do it, and she just escalates it. And then we expose the success in our meetings. It was all about like, look at how beautiful this is, and how this is generating more engagements, and how everything is connected. And we share the learnings. So what did we learn by doing this? And we also share the failures that we can never repeat, because that's all about that. If we're going to achieve new things, better things, we should understand what are our failures and not repeat them. And of course, always set the bar higher. So right now we're talking about branding, we're talking about visual content that is so much more above those kind of big objectives that we had in the beginning, so that those big objectives now look like very small things. So when it comes to your EB, it's so much like about understand like what can we do at the current moment, and challenging people. It's like once again, like with Rodrigo, he never knew about like editing a website and designing and this kind of stuff. And I just made him see that if he would use some templates, and if he would do some YouTube search and this kind of stuff, he could actually create some web pages that we use to generate leads. And he was like, okay, I'm never gonna design pages for a website. And after 3 weeks, he presented me the one page for each of the products. It was about like giving a hard task and seeing you can do it, because you've proved me before over and over again in different things that you could do it. So this one is a little bit harder, but what is the purpose of not doing something that is harder than the previous thing? So this thing of always setting the bar higher is very important in order to keep people engaged, with willingness to do things. Because if it's just going to be the same difficulty as before after like a repetition of 3 to 4 to 5 weeks, it's not going to work. So when it comes to your EB, if you're always giving them the same challenges, always push on approvals, go and do sales in the university, go and do sales to companies, keep on like doing the sales, the approval process of matching. If you're always going to give the same task, then it's gonna be very, 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 very boring. So really like understand what was the previous thing that was achieved, and try to set a little bit of a higher bar and understand what were the mistakes that will never be made again, and just keep on having this repetition. And then going to the fourth and last one, autonomy. And so this closes the my four keys to empowering others and like make them way above what they were in the beginning. And the autonomy stage is very, very important because this is the one that they no longer need you to get things done. And you can pretty much get things running, and you can be out for 2 to 3 days, and things are going to still continue, and things are going to still be achieved, and you don't really need to worry. So going into autonomy, once again, like a little story. Here it's very much like with Benja. Benja is my ex LCP of UNAM, my coachee, and my MCB of blog. And Benja was really passionate about writing, but he really never had the experience on managing a blog, writing like actively a blog or anything. But I really, really, really trusted him. So he had a role with me as NST for Viva Mexico in the first semester, and then I gave him the challenge of becoming MCB blog. And I knew that there was a lot of things to learn there, but step by step we did that. Like there was a purpose. He wanted to get experience of writing. He wanted to become more professional in blogging. He wanted to understand those like key things, you know, like SEO, all those things that make a blog a business. And the whole point here was that sorry guys, please. So the whole point with this was that he went step by step with, and we had a clear purpose. We had a clear purpose. We started building the skills because he never knew anything about like the back end of like WordPress, this kind of things. So we went step by step. He watched tutorials. We started understanding new things like, okay, let's now do this new thing for the blog and this kind of thing. And then we went into achieving. So we started setting higher goals. Okay, let's start doing content that is from externals. So we start interviewing our prospects. We start doing like interviewing to our companies and so on. And we're starting generating a lot of content that was from externals. And also we wanted to do something more engaging, so we did the quiz. And now we're gonna like starting to do a lot of different types of blog that are more engaging and get people to interact with it. And so here the whole point was that Benja clearly kept on achieving and did few mistakes. And the whole his whole journey was, okay, I learned this and now I'm going to implement this and the next thing. And so we are now at the stage in which we have a goal. We need to increase our drive, the traffic to the blog, and we need to get, of course, more leads through blog. And he just needs to figure out different ways to get this. And this is to automate little things. It's to doing more engaging things. It's to get our partners into blog, these kind of things. And this is how he became autonomous. And we just need to do checkpoints, and we just need to look at how we're doing with traffic, how we're doing with like creation versus publishing, and like so plan versus achieved, and these kind of things. And we just need to do the basic tracking because this person just became autonomous and is achieving things week by week. And when it comes to your BEs, like the same thing. Like it's about creating a culture of achievement, making your people achieve in the beginning, and making them see that they can do things, and then give them the goal and track the process. Because if they prove you over and over again that they can achieve, you keep on setting once again the bar higher as the previous one, and you keep on giving them autonomy. Because now it's no longer like we need to go this way and these are the options that we need to go. No, it's more about presenting the problem and asking for solutions. Because as LCPs, we're not going to be the people that is going to be clicking on approve. We're not going to be the people that needs to go into the sales meeting. Because if we become that, we become slaves of our operations. And it's not, doesn't make sense anymore that we have a team to do things, because then we should do it ourselves. But if we want to achieve more, we need to empower others to do it. So if we don't make them become autonomous, then we're not going to succeed. So if we get to the point that we can present them the problems and then ask for solutions, then we are in the right track. Because it's no longer like the way I would solve the problem, but it's the way that the people that I chose to lead my LC with me, it's how they would solve the problem. And by doing that, we come into endless possibilities of getting things done. About this one is providing them proxy roles. So something that I really like to do with my teams is putting the NSTs as MCB for a week or two, for them to experience what it is to set a meeting, what it is to okay, based on this goal, this is the objective that I need to do, tracking, publishing, being accountable for everyone, making everyone work. And this idea of putting team leaders taking the role of a VP, or putting a VP taking the role of another VP for a while, just like changing their roles, it can be dangerous, depend if people are not ready in this part of autonomy. People have not proven good enough. Something that really gives them a different perspective and makes them perform better. Their role, they're gonna see, fuck, now I see how hard it is to do this. So give them a proxy role to LCP, like try to switch the ones that you're using, so that like make them run your meetings. Like, okay, next week you're going to run the meeting and you're going to take the tracking of the LC and you're going to track all the operations. Even though you're OGT, you're going to track everything. And then the next, the other week afterwards is going to be the TXP. Then it's going to be the finance. And then you start making them understand your point of view, and you're going to get them to be so much better at their job, but only if they're already in this stage of autonomy. And so these were it, guys. Like my 4 keys to empowering others. Of course, like life is not a wish list, and there are some things to keep in mind. Of course, like as I said, I started with this, but these were the people that either quit, or I fired, or yeah, pretty much that. Either quit or I fired. Because in the end, like I understood that not everyone is fit to lead. And that is, for me, that's like something that I really experience. Some people can take a leadership role and can really excel at that. Other people are not responsible enough to do it and don't find the pressure, don't find the social pressure, don't find that, fuck, I need to deliver this, otherwise I'm going to fail. And this means that like there's people, and this is part of my belief, that are not fit to lead, and that's okay. Then people are very good at executing things. And also that there are people that don't really seek development. And I thought that this was not possible because it's part of my character to always wanting to be better at something and always try to like learn for like new things and develop. But there are people that are really not into that, or at least they're not looking for development within what they're focusing on, within their studies, within their volunteering, within their personal relationships, and so on. And if these people are not really looking for development, but you need development in your team in order to succeed, then these people don't fit your team. And if people's purpose is not aligned with the purpose that they like, with what they will get from the experience, they will not perform, because this means that they will not getting something that is valuable for them. So if you get already somebody in your team that is like, I just want to do it because maybe it's going to give me some credibility, maybe it's going to be cool and this kind of thing, but what they want to get out of the experience is not what you usually get out of that experience. And if you cannot align a JD in order for them to get that purpose, then you might as well take this person out and put somebody there that has a clear purpose and a willingness to get it done. And it's fine to get people, to fire people. It's fine to figure out that somebody is going to quit because you did not manage them well. But you just need to know that like the right people need to be on the bus and you take it forward. And people don't magically do things. This is my last learning. People don't magically see that, oh, we need to get this thing done, so let's get it done. It's always like 1 or 2 people out of your whole team that will know this needs to get done, and I'm going to go ahead and I am going to preview it, and like I'm going to anticipate it and I'm going to do it. Other like than 1 or 2 exceptional people, this doesn't happen. So it's on you to drive the bus. So if you're not the one like empowering people, if you're not the one making them succeed, then if they don't succeed, you don't succeed. And if you don't succeed, why are you even here? So that's the whole point, guys. Like, we enable young people to develop their leadership through learning from practical experiences in challenging environments. So if we're not doing this, then what are we doing here? That was it, guys. I'm very much looking forward for comments in this webinar. Like, I will be answering them if you want, like if you have any question, any tip, whatever. Like I think it would be very cool because all of you have had so much experience within leading teams, within your own like life, that could be something important to share here. So I really invite you guys to comment there, and I would be active on the comment section as well. So once again, guys, thank you so much for being present, and I hope you took something valuable out of this. Y se salió.